Hey guys, welcome on back to the Anchorage. Now, a while back, I did a video regarding, my roles and my responsibilities to switch to Linux and stuff like that. I did that on TUXQuest, but I have to do it here on this series. So, it's SWITCHQuest. So we're going to be doing that. And I've got a big announcement as well. So make sure you stick around until you see it all and hear it all. So here we go. Hey, welcome on back. And, if you happen to like this content, give it a like. Subscribe if you wish. And I'd greatly appreciate it. That would be perfectly fine. And, but it's completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. And, it's kind of fun. So, switch to Linux. So, hence that and the border graphic and stuff like that. This is actually his asset that he uses on his videos. I just recolorized it to fit my channel. My history with Switch to Linux goes back a few years. I was watching Switch to Linux, for a while. Probably for close to 5 years, if not more. Maybe even longer. I can't remember exactly. But I actually met Tom when he was driving around the country. He was up in here in New Hampshire, and he went through, and he went all the way up into Maine, all the way out to the New Brunswick border. That's Canada, out by Calais. And on his way back, he's like, "Hey, would you like to meet up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So he told me roughly where he was going to be and stuff like that, and asked me for a suggestion for a place. So I said, "Why not the Yankee Smokehouse? It's about 20 minutes from where you are." Vaguely, but met up with some great barbecue, because Yankee Smokehouse is, I'm going there since the early 80s, and it's just, it's amazing. I haven't been up there since I met Tom, but it's really good. I gotta get up there. But in either sense, so I met him and stuff like that. I wasn't like a member of the channel or anything. I got started on, watching the weekly news roundup stream. And, all the way back when he used to be on Discord. I used to, chat on Discord back then. I don't anymore. And then, of course, then I started getting involved a little bit with his newer chat, which is out on Matrix. And, I got there, stuff like that. And time passed. And next thing you know, I found myself as a moderator of the chat. And I found myself the moderator of the streams on all three platforms, YouTube, Odyssey, and Rumble. And then, then I found myself doing things for him, because, I'm a contributing subscriber of sorts. I throw a little coin, and I thought to myself, is this really enough? And I came to the conclusion it wasn't. So I'm like, what can I do extra? So I started doing the extra things. I became the moderator of the chats and stuff like that, and I started doing posts out on social media. And, what do I have? I got Blue Sky, X, the Fediverse, Lemmy, Friendica, and let's see. I also do Pixel Fed once a week and stuff like that. I keep involved. So, but, I started doing that and everything, and then I started doing other things. And so what we're basically going to be looking into is like, what's my role with Switch to Linux? I'm sort of a quote unquote staff member and stuff like that because of all that stuff. And I recently got started on doing other things and stuff like that also involves doing production work to a degree. And I'll describe that in a minute, stuff like that. So, I do the moderation of Matrix chat of, let's see, I also did graphics work for the different rooms in our chat community on Matrix. I've done those. And I do the, I'm a guest on the supporter streams that we hold. We're trying to get back into doing it once a month. We were doing it every week for a while, and then we didn't for a long time, and we just started kind of getting back into that. And of course, I had my own productions for this channel, and so we're going to be continuing that, but we're going to be balancing it out as much as we can. So what else am I going to be doing? Well, we'll take a look in a second here. All right, so the big thing that I've got going on here is I do a number of different things regarding announcements out on social media. So like I said, Blue Sky, X, the Fediverse, and so on. So what I wanted to do was actually kind of show you where I kind of track that. And it's not necessarily tracking. It's more or less a checklist. I have checklists for everything because I kind of need that. And some of it's really involved. But also from my flight training, because I am a private pilot, so just not practicing. Because I can't. I'm grounded for medical reasons. So, and I did that to myself. I wasn't going to have some flight examiner do that on me and me pay for the visit, stuff like that. I don't need that. So I did it to myself to save myself and to save others, and including the aircraft. So, am I confident in my abilities? Yeah, I am. But as a pilot should be, being cautious. So there we are. So anyway, getting back on to my checklisting and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into the individual items and stuff like that, but I want to kind of show you how I've got that set up. So we're going to go out here and we're going to take a look at this. So this is an instance of Nextcloud that I've got running. And so what I did with that was this is on a Raspberry Pi 5 that was donated to me / the channel by Mythos. And it is the Resurrected Mercury instance. As we can see up here, we've got a little icon of a Mercury capsule, and it's got a little Nextcloud logo on it. You just can't see it here. Even I can't see it, but yeah, failed to get Mastodon notifications. It's no big deal. These aren't actually Mastodon. This is Fediverse in general. This is just going out at ActivityPub. That's the protocol used by Mastodon and also on Pleroma, and I can connect to it, and there we are. It's very minimal. I mean, I've got the dashboard, I've got my files, I've got notes, and I've got Deck. Deck is, well, if I go over to it, here it is. So I'll just go over here to AnKorage videos. And here we've got this one. This is the one that's actually over here. So basically that's what I do is, we will take a quick peek inside of it. Boom, boom, boom. It's in production. I've already filmed the introduction. I'm filming the main portion right now. Acquire needed resources is still open. I have them. I just haven't brought them over, so that's why that's still open. And then post-production is where I do all of my editing, and then I publish it and announce it, and then I do that there, and then I start recording all of the important stuff down here. I haven't done that yet, so that's bad on me. So this is where I do this. I get my templates in a column all by itself. I copy it over to here for my new ideas, and then I bring it in progress, and then when it's all done, I will actually archive the card and it disappears. So that's just basically what the approach is. So my switch to Linux is right down here, but I've got all of these. I've got behind the scenes for the Anchorage. I've got my actual videos. I've got my network maintenance, my network projects, Ragnar Anchorage for the home, because I gave my home a name, and Ragnar Anchorage, like 13, 14 years ago. 15, I can't remember. And then I've got one dedicated for Switch to Linux. So this is where I go for all of my Switch to Linux stuff. And we can peek it out here. Here's all the templates. Boom. Here's what's in progress. And here's what's completed. And at the end of the week, I archive all of these, but I need these for something else just to kind of keep an eye on it as the week progresses and things of that sort. So yeah, so that's everything that we've got for that. So I do all of that, and of course, Malwarebytes pops up. Thank you. So those are all the different things that I've got going on, and and if you paid attention, you'd see kind of like something else that's I haven't talked about yet. So I'm gonna in a minute here, but I do announcements for videos, supporter streams, weekly news roundup, premieres, all that stuff. So I do that. And I've recently, in the past couple of weeks, gotten involved with actual production work to a degree. I don't create the content. It's regarding pre-recorded video content, but it's not to re-release on this channel or anything like that. It's not even a video. And that brings us to our next thing, which is big news. We have count them, two podcasts. And what we decided to do was to take pre-recorded videos and stuff like that, and we're actually producing actual podcasts, because folks, I don't know how many, but there's been the question or the request of an actual podcast because people would like to listen to it. How or where, under what circumstances? Could be anything. On your drive into work, when you're bored, you want to fall asleep to it. I don't know, but it kept coming up apparently, and so we decided, why don't we give it a try, stuff like that. At first, I was like, hey, I could produce these for you and stuff like that, and I was going to do an instance of a hosting using CJ, the Raspberry Pi 5. But it turned out that it wasn't possible because Castopod, through the method that I was going to go through using Portainer, it can't be deployed on Raspberry Pi 5. But apparently it can be. But if I couldn't do it through the methods of Portainer, then it's just like, well, unfortunately I can't do it. So Tom decided to launch an instance of Castopod on his own hosting platform, which is Linode, and so it's hosted at podcast.switchtolinux.com. And there's two podcasts out there. Tom does one, and that is focused on the weekly news roundup specifically. And what he does is he actually takes, we have this stream, and then like a day or two later, when he has time, he will actually convert it and release it as a podcast at podcast.switchtolinux.com. My involvement is I produce podcasts as well, at the same address, same location, and you'll see two podcasts in there. Podcasts in there. You'll see his, which is the WNR podcast, and then you have mine, which is the series called TUXQuest. And my focus is select videos and weekly news roundup segments and stuff like that after they're released. And they're usually, they're usually available for me to obtain the audio of those videos the day after, so I can release my podcasts after. So we've got that going on, and there we go. So if I can get that out of there and bring this back here. And so, yeah, so we've got 2 podcasts and they're available now. So I would highly recommend, for those of you who like podcasts, give it a whirl, see how you like it, and move on from there and have a great listen. So that is pretty much everything that I've got for this video. So thank you very much for coming along, and Skál. Talk to you later. Enjoy.